Talking about fires, you've had a few mistakes yourself. Yes. So, I mean, one of the mistakes includes an ex-prime minister, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah. I was thinking about this as I was trying to get my head around, like, which ones am I prepared to admit to and things. I've definitely got this annoying tendency that even if I do make a mistake, like, to keep going and find a way to turn it into a good thing. So a lot of the things I would call mistakes, I then think, I don't look back on them negatively though, because it led to something interesting. But there have been a few. So, like, we're on a bit of a roll with, or I keep saying we, even though I've left, I can't get out of the habit. So they are on a roll. But back when I was working at Taylor's, in the really early days when I was managing the social media myself, we had the then Prime Minister David Cameron came to our factory to do one of his like tours where he listened to people on the factory floor and took questions, which is like a good thing to do regardless of whether you liked him or not. And we kind of excitedly said he's come to visit, and I just was not prepared for the fact that like that would come across like we were condoning him, that we were sort of arguing for every element of Tory policy. And we got the absolute shit kicked out of us. And then we didn't learn because like probably 5 or 6 years later, maybe it's a bit longer, this time we didn't do it. But Rishi Sunak, before he was Prime Minister, when he was Chancellor, posted a picture of himself with a big bag of Yorkshire tea, just saying that he was making tea for his team in his constituency. And, you know, like, got to take the rough with the smooth, I think. We benefited as a brand so many times from celebrities with nothing from our part saying, I'm having a cup of Yorkshire tea, and we get loads of love for it. But when Rishi did it, we didn't get loads of love. We just got battered.
That's the second David Cameron story we've had on the podcast.
Not funny.
Yeah. But that's interesting. I mean, do you, when Cameron visits you guys, Rishi shares a post, do you lean into that? How do you stay kind of neutral? Because obviously approximately 50% of the population are going to be behind that. 50% are going to think it's an absolute outrage that you're selling tea bags to Rishi Sunak and his team. How do you deal with that? Or do you just kind of try and be as neutral as possible?
Yeah, we do try and be as neutral as possible, but you've also got to be kind of genuine, haven't you? So I think what we did with the Rishi thing was we didn't want to take a side. We just wanted to point out to people that, like, this is just a guy posting a picture of a product he's bought in a supermarket. Like, we didn't get involved. They don't. If any one of us want to do that, you don't have to write to the brand to say, I'd like to show this box of cereal. You just show it. And but people just didn't want to hear it, and instead just took it as like, we're really angry that Yorkshire Tea, this brand we love, has suddenly took sides. And really the mistake was, if we did make a mistake, I think it was that we didn't sort of take that seriously enough when it first happened. So Tom, our like amazing social media guy, like, he tried to play it down with humour and said, oh, look, we didn't do this, and we certainly wouldn't do something like this at 4:00 on Friday afternoon. Thinking he could kind of diffuse the situation, and it just didn't.
And then the weekend happened, and the big shitstorm.
It carried on going.
Actually, it carried on going in kind of such a mad way. So poor Tom was like on the receiving end of loads of hate for 2.5 days, and on Monday,
not him personally, sure.
Well, through the Yorkshire
Tea.
But actually, that's the link to what I was going to say next. Is eventually we sort of took the sort of break in the fourth wall move. Tom said, look, like, fair enough, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but just remember, like, there is a human being on the other side of this Twitter account, and like, let's try and be nice to each other, which was I thought was a really lovely and important moment. But what was weird was that quite a lot of people saw that and went, this is a really important moment. It's like, look at what we've become. And it became a talking point.
Right.
So although it was a nice thing, it didn't take the air out of the conversation. It breathed more air into the conversation, so it kept going. And then
classic Twitter pylon.
Yeah, it was a Twitter pylon that kind of kept snowballing. And then eventually, at one point, the following day, there was this. I need to tell you this last bit because it's my favourite part of the story. There was this lady who was just being really, really angry, and every tweet that she sent to us was in block capitals, and she just was not listening to anything we said back to her. So eventually, we said, and this lady was called Sue. We just said, Sue, you're shouting at tea. please just, take a break and go and look after yourself. But like, you're trying to end the conversation. And it did end the conversation, but it started another one because so many people were like, Sue, you're shouting at tea became this kind of emblematic.
But then that hits the media, doesn't it?
It's a meme.
This is like, this shows you what the internet has become.
But it's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
People made T-shirts of it. It was getting printed
shouting
on
at
mugs. So that some guy actually who writes lots of music had written a song with Sue, you're shouting at tea as the chorus.
So with a line like that, some brands would they'd call the agency, they'd get copywriters in, they'd go through. Was that an example of community manager that operates within the parameters you've set but has a degree of autonomy, posts it, great piece of content?
That. And I think what was lovely though is because there's not like this kind of controlling, risk-averse culture. Like Tom had the freedom within those parameters to know what to do.
Yeah,
but
brilliant.
we had the openness.
A lot of pressure though.
It is. So I think the other thing is it's not like you're on your own, mate. He also used to either speak to me or he'd speak to the head of comms, and knowing that he's not going to get in trouble if he like reaches out to say, I am not sure how to handle this. What do you think? And it would be like a more relaxed conversation about what's the best thing to do rather than
10
we've got a
stages of
a formula.
It's the balance of humour, trying to get because you're a humorous brand, you're trying to get the humour across, but sometimes humour can just like be inflammatory. And let's face it, Will's right, like 50% of Twitter are going to pile on one way or the other.